Good evening, everyone. I'm Chelsea Manning. I think everybody has a sense of who I am at this point by now. This is the 9th annual Aaron Swartz Day event put on by my dear friend Lisa Ryan, who I have known for many years and who I was on the phone with while I was in prison many a day. I'm excited to be here. The last couple times that I tried to speak here, I was occupied in various ways and capacities, but I wanted to make an effort to try to be here tonight to speak to y'all. So I'll get a little bit into my background real fast, because I feel like a lot of people are very focused on a very narrow snapshot of my own history. And the truth is that I wasn't just an intelligence analyst in Iraq in 2010, right? I had a whole comprehensive history. I released a book earlier this year in which I tell a little bit about my own personal story, which Lisa is a part of. And in this, in this period of time, I worked in the field of data science. And data science has exploded into a critical infrastructure skill, essentially, where almost every single thing in this data-driven world is driven by data scientists, algorithms, machine learning, and the tools and technology that we interact with every day. As I've said previously before, and in which I have based current lectures on, it is the Internet of Things devices that we have on us that are collecting reams and reams of information constantly. Now that machine learning has integrated itself into the entire world that we live in, what does this mean for us? What does this mean for our identities, for who we are as human beings? What does this mean for the ethics of collecting data, of sorting data, of filtering data? And I think that we have hit upon a moment in time in the post-COVID environment where I think previously, I think in 2019, the statistics show that in approximately 26 countries where this data was collected, broadband, in nations that had wide access to broadband internet, that approximately 9% of adults were, quote unquote, extremely online. And so this in 2019 was before the pandemic and before the transition to to the online space for video conferencing, for classes, for online interactions with each other. And this jumped up by late 2021 to approximately almost 30% of the adult population in broadband access internet nations. And I think that this is going to have a long-term health impact on people. Having your every single packet of data, having you be seen on this weird format where you're looking at a camera and you're not really interacting with people, is I think having a long-term health impact on people. I think that being distant and being disconnected and being commodified and monetized for an extended period of time is draining people. It's causing people to be exhausted. It's causing people to be tired. It's causing people to feel alienated, to feel disconnected from ourselves and from each other. And one of the things that I think social media sites in particular have done is they've gamified everything. Everything is a like, everything is a click, and you get a button that pops up, and you spend a little money, or you spend points, or everything has become sort of by design, a casino game, where you hit the button and you expect the dopamine hit of the response. And this just isn't sustainable. I don't think that this is how humans are supposed to build a society. And one of the things that I want to focus on in my work over the next few years is how we can shift away from the gamification of everything, where everything is a risk-reward system whenever it comes to online interaction and algorithms, to a world in which, we are actually interacting with, in which interactions among people can be protected, they can be cherished, and not put above your own privacy and your own feelings of human interaction and engagement with each other. Now then, in my own experience, of course, I have talked a lot about the war in Iraq and the war in Afghanistan and this time frame. But I feel like talking about this time frame can be confusing because I think that one of the things that has happened is that whereas there was this huge debate between secrecy versus transparency, government secrecy and corporate secrecy versus the right of the public to know. And I think that the context has dramatically shifted over the last few years, in the last half decade in particular. And this is really notable because we are now in such a deluge of information. We have so much information collected about us and from us now, and it's being spread in so many different directions that now many bad actors are no longer hiding their bad activities. They're no longer hiding it. Instead, what they're doing is they're incentivizing you, the average person, the user, to spread, to react to and spread to unverified information that spreads wildly. That this misinformation and disinformation space is the one in which verification of information is going to be the higher priority over the coming years. So it's less about secrecy versus privacy and much more about verification of what information is out there that's actually valuable. And I, from my own experience, because I was at the Ukrainian Polish border earlier this year, helping out with volunteers at the Ukrainian-Polish border, or helping out with refugees that were crossing into to go to Europe. One of the things that I noticed is that today, as a civilian in 2022, I now have more access to more information about what's happening with the Russian invasion of Ukraine than I did as an intelligence analyst with access to enormous amounts of classified information in Iraq in 2010. And so this gives you a sense of just the sheer volume of information that is able to spread in contexts that were previously, invisible or could be more easily controlled historically, at least whenever it comes to internet connected spaces. So this is, I think, the conclusion of my talk. I think that it's very unfortunate that I could not make it this year, but I'm happy and thrilled to be here, and thank you so much again, Lisa, for inviting me. And yeah, so I hope that everyone enjoys their evening, and we're able to come up with tools for verification of information and for incentivizing people to disconnect a little bit, have their information and private communications be protected, but to focus on maybe incentivizing, feeling alive and feeling connected within ourselves and grounded within the world that we live in. Thank you.